I haven't been live this entire time, have I? Hi, everybody. I don't have words. I'm sorry. I'm a complete and total idiot. I really don't have words for that one. I'm just tired. Hi, everyone. How you doing? I'm so mad at myself right now. I'm so mad at myself right now. Ah. Hi, everybody. I've literally been talking to myself for 30 minutes. So there's that. All right. Anyway, backing up. On the upside, you missed my cat knocking everything off my desk. You missed me fooling around with the settings to make everything work. So you've missed all of that. All of that's ready to go. Why am I mad? Because Smug and Smarmy, I have been talking to myself for 30 minutes straight, wondering why no one was responding. Because I never went live. So in just to defend myself a little bit, when you use OBS and you start recording, you start broadcasting, it has some kind of safety feature that, like, on top of everything else, you have to basically hit the button twice to actually go live. And I sometimes forget to hit the second go live button, the button that actually says go live. I forget to do that. So, but anyway, all right. We are experimenting today. I am going to edit a video that I recorded earlier today. And then while I'm doing that, I figured we could watch Influencer Insanity episode 7 from Hannah Alonzo. Some people have asked me to cover, well, not to cover, but some people have said that they like Hannah and they would be okay with me going over her stuff. I'm not particularly into the MLM stuff, so I figured I would do, but okay, words. It's been a long day. I'm not into the MLM thing just because, like, it's not my thing. But the Influencer Insanity series that Hannah started doing is really interesting to me because she's looking at influencer culture through TikTok and Instagram. I think the first one's all Instagram videos. And I'm really interested in just her take on it because excuse me, her videos are good. She has some really good insights, and I think she's an intelligent person. But the content is not normal for my channel, so this is kind of an experiment for me. I did record myself. I already have a reaction to the first episode in this series, which is about 4 months old. This Influencer Insanity episode 1, the unhinged consumerism of restock influencers. So while I'm in Salem, did you know I was going to Salem? I'm going to post those. This was a 40-minute video, so it's actually like a two-parter. So I'm going to post part 1 and part 2 while I'm in Salem, and you guys can let me know what you think. And if I get a good response on that, we'll go forward with episode 2, talking about the Stanley Cup. Wahaha. So that should be fun. But right now, I really wanted to watch episode 7 because I don't actually know a lot about Tradwives. I know it's a thing. I know people are doing it. I know it's usually part of, like, a certain political background. But beyond that, I don't know anything about it, honestly. So I thought I'd let somebody who does know about it tell me about it. So there we go. And thank you all for waiting patiently and not just, like, walking out of the room. But if you see me glancing off to the other side of the screen, it's because I've got my editor open and I'm trying to edit. This will either work wonderfully or it'll be terrible. So let's go all the way back up to the top. Hello, Midori. Hello, Rocky. Hello, Textbook. Hello, Abby. Hello, Hedgehog Bocat. Hello, Lee. Hello, Taco Talia. I'm sorry, I probably screwed everything up and you sat here listening to a blank screen. Apologies. Hello, Bryn. Hello, Smug. Smug and Smarmy. Hello, Ruby Skies. Did I miss? Hello, Ali. Hello. Did I get Hellfire? Hellfire, you missed the cats. Sorry. I know that's like the highlight of these streams. Hello, Lizzie. Who all have I got? Yes, Smug. Did you know? Did you know? I'm going to... I know you're all tired of it at this point. No, Lee, not that... Okay, yeah, you know, never mind. I was like, no, not that Stanley Cup. I was very confused as well. You don't want to be left alone with your thoughts. I feel that. I feel that. It was a lovely blank screen. You're all so nice. I had her sped up earlier, but I think between me trying to edit and the speed, it was too hard for me to really understand what was going on. And the first Tradwife she goes over mumbles really low like this, and I can't understand a damn word she's saying. So I slowed it down so that I could actually understand it. But fortunately, I do know the audio's. If you guys hear overlapping audio, that will sound like this video playing, and then you'll hear what sounds like me, and I'm not talking. You'll understand what's happening if it happens. I don't think it will. I don't think you guys will hear both audios. So if you do start to hear bleeding audio, give me the high sign in the chat in case I don't notice it. And because I will hear both audios. I don't know if y'all will. You should not. Hello, B. But, oh hey, I learned to save the wrong species. Hello. I need like a shorter name for you. Learned. I'm gonna call you Learned. Because if I say I, everyone's gonna think I'm referring to myself. Like the adults in Snoopy. Yes, exactly. So, without further ado, I'm not gonna be on here too long because it is also date night. So, I have a date tonight. So there's that. But yeah, thank you guys for tolerating my ignorance. It's not even ignorance, it's just like lack of awareness. But anyway, let's go.
This morning, my toddlers woke up with a cough and a little bit of a sore throat, and I don't usually keep cough drops or traditional medicine in the house, so let's make some. These were so soothing.
I understand the concept of Tradwives. No, I don't. Not really. Why wouldn't you keep traditional medicine in the house? Why? Where in the 1950s were they like, no, don't use aspirin. That would be crazy talk. That never happened. Actually, the 1950s was like better living through modern chemistry. So
same deal here. Oh, my toddlers woke up sick this morning and I just happened to have fresh ginger and elderberry and arrowroot powder and cough drop molds in the pantry. No, you didn't. This was clearly planned well in advance, and it is crazy to me that people fall for it. This is my hot take. I believe that Tradwives have built a business on cosplaying what they believe real homemakers do. Anyone who's an actual homemaker knows that it looks nothing like what Tradwives portray. It's an act, it's a facade, it's a business. They're still technically working, but it's their job to pretend that they don't have a job. Do you make 6 figures a month by posting cooking videos on TikTok? No, probably not. So why are you comparing yourself to someone who lives that life?
I mean, there's different definitions of housewife. There's different expectations in different families as to what a traditional housewife's gonna look like. But, so, I mean, I don't know. Show me your argument, Hannah.
Ah, Tradwives, the new wave of millennial and Gen Z women who are cosplaying 50s housewives on TikTok. Welcome back to another episode of...
I like how she says that unironically, like she doesn't fall into one of those categories. No offense. I don't know, she might be 40.
Influencer Insanity, where we cover social media culture and influencer trends. My name is Hannah, and I'll be honest, I've been scared to touch this topic. It's been on my list of topics since the beginning, but there's a reason that it's taken me 7 episodes to finally get up the courage to do it, I guess. And that's because of how divisive and nuanced this trend is. It deals with issues of gender roles and feminism and freedom of choice, the rising cost of living, the rising cost of childcare, the apparent declining value of college degrees, the rise and fall of the girl boss era. And then you add in the rising popularity of social media influencers telling us how we should live our lives, and it turns into a huge disaster. What I don't want to do is bash women who take on the homemaking role. That is not what I believe, and that's not what this video is about. But I do see some issues with the social media tradwife trend and the role that influencers are perpetuating that I think are worth a discussion and worth exposing. So finding that balance and deciding how I'm going to approach this topic has been kind of difficult, but I'm excited to get into this mess and see what we can make of it. I look forward to reading the comments to see what you think of this trend as well, because from what I can tell on the internet, it's very split, it's very polarizing, and I have no doubts that we're going to see some of that discourse in the comments below. But first, I would love to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, the Paired app. Paired is a relationship care app that you use with your partner to help prompt Tradwives. The term Tradwife is defined as a married woman who chooses to be a homemaker as a primary occupation and adheres to or embodies traditional femininity and female gender roles often associated with conservative or alt-right political views. And in the
define traditional, because that's going to be very different depending on what culture we're talking about. Because in some traditional cultures, the woman's out there slaughtering pigs. So I don't think any of these women are going to do. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be very surprised. Hopefully we don't have to watch that. I don't know. Just because you think something's traditional does not mean it is traditional. It just means it's traditional within your family, maybe. There are a lot of people who have fever dreams of what tradition should be, and that's absolutely nothing like what the reality is. And I find that to be true with a lot of like conservative-esque people. They have this idea that the past was the certain way, and there is no evidence at any point to support these ideas. Sometimes like the whole Mayberry effect, where everybody thinks that like the 50s were like Mayberry, the TV show. What was the name of that show? Anyway, the point is, there's this idea that the past looked like Leave It to Beaver and that kind of thing, and it's like totally not at all anything like that. Yes, thank you, Taco Talia, very much. Appreciate that. And please like the stream. Like the stream as my voice goes out. Yeah, smug and smarmy, Leave It to Beaver, 1950s idealized. The television has never been truth, okay? Ever. At any point. Your segment of choice. What's going on? Aw, cat rescue's amazing. Do I have a degree, Betty? Yes, I do. Hello, Abby. I don't know, Abby. I mean, there's some comfort in the idea of the fantasy of the past. And I know that 1950s is like a very specific niche within the adult fun time areas. I don't know anything about it beyond that because I don't really participate in that particular one. So, but yeah, the Mayberry effect was it, but that wasn't the name of the show, and it wasn't Leave It to Beaver. I mean, I know the theme song apparently, so. Where you live on a ranch where everyone has to work. Exactly, like, your femininity is you can bear children. Good job. Like, boomer childhoods were 75% propaganda anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you know, the Addams Family is actually probably more like what actual life was like back then. The women were weird, the men were weirder. Sometimes they got together and had really weird children. I mean, come on, seriously. Andy Griffith, thank you. Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith Show. You know, the sheriff that never carried a gun in the 1950s. Like, that was kind of the point of the Andy Griffith Show. He was supposed to be so anti what policing looked like, and that's why the goober, I forget what the other guy's name was, the tall skinny guy who was always shooting himself in the foot, that was the point of his character. He was supposed to be a caricature of what policing looked like at the time, and Andy was supposed to be the reasonable, I can talk anybody down, I never have to draw my gun, I don't even carry a gun because I'm that confident in my ability to talk people down. Like, it wasn't really, it was more commentary on what society actually was like versus what society was actually like, you know? I don't think people really understood how political 1950s television shows really were and how much they were actually counter to society at the time. Barney, thank you. Yeah, the Flintstones were probably closer to what those families actually were. There was a lot of to the moon, Alice kind of crap. That probably wasn't that far off from reality. Yeah, Barney the deputy would always be shooting himself. Ooh, Library of the Missing. That's a good name. Hello, Platinum Lemur. Good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a minute. Tea with a Unicorn. Hello. I think you're new. I don't think I've seen your name before. Or if you have, I'm sorry. I apologize. Who else snuck in? We love the Flintstones. There's nothing wrong with liking the shows. Just don't confuse them with reality. It's a TV show. TV has never been reality. Leave It to Beaver family because my father was everyone's parents. Oh, my mom stayed home and we never. Yeah, exactly. Behind closed doors. You know, in pictures, everybody smiles.
In the social media influencer sphere, this often looks like conventionally attractive young women, typically with a religious background, who get all dolled up like 50s housewives and film themselves performing domestic tasks.
Okay, first off, a 1950s housewife would never have worn that dress in the kitchen, and they certainly would not have worn that dress in the kitchen without an apron. So, yeah, and your hair's down. You don't cook with your hair down. So far you guys are batting 0 for 0 here.
Such as cooking elaborate meals from scratch, or gardening, or farming.
Why were you just dumping sugar into a bowl?
Or cleaning and organizing. And there's often an air of perfection.
Why are you cooking in these outfits without something covering them? What is wrong with you? Anyway, I was editing. Onward.
Tranquility, peace, glamour, even. They move so effortlessly, so calmly, with so much joy and gratitude to be able to serve their husband and children in this way. They appear to have endless time and endless resources to spend on simple homemaking tasks.
This person. Apron, hair up, not wearing fancy dress. Good job. Whoever the hell this woman is. What is wrong with you? Anyway.
And they couldn't be happier doing it. I can show you easier than I can tell you, so let's get into some examples. Let's start with one of the Queen Tradwives herself, Nara Smith. With 7 million TikTok followers and over 3...
What is this red dress she's wearing? Why don't you... Whatever. Oops, sorry.
3 million Instagram followers, there is a great chance that you've already come across her content if you spend time on social media. And she's likely one of the first to come to mind when you think of this tradwife trend. Her videos get millions and millions and millions of views on a regular basis, and she posts mostly cooking content. Here's one that I think you'll enjoy.
This morning my toddlers requested some cornflakes for breakfast, but I don't usually keep those in the house, so I just decided to make them. I combined some cornmeal, corn flour, and a tablespoon of coconut sugar with some water until it was batter-like consistency.
You don't keep cereal in the house, but you have cornmeal, corn flour, and coconut sugar laying around. Okay, let's go with it. She goes on to show us the rest of the process and says that it takes over an hour in the oven for these to bake and get really crispy. My guess is that start to finish, the whole process took at least a couple hours. My question is, who has toddlers that are willing to wait hours for a bowl of cereal? And what mom of toddlers has this kind of time? I'm the mom of a toddler. I don't have this kind of time, I can tell you that. This next one is even more absurd, if you can believe it.
I mean, in their defense, if their job is to make videos of themselves doing this crap, I'm sorry, Hannah, I always pause on the worst face for you. Then, yes, they will have time to do it because it's literally their job. Oh, Nerfy, hey, thank you so much for that. That's amazing, thank you. Also, thank you for my space in the Discord. That's also cool. I'm gonna catch up with the chat real fast. Where's her apron? Everybody, where's her apron? Brady Bunch. I'm in the Brady Bunch. I mean, off camera, they're beating the kid. No. Amy's life journey isn't on air anymore. Do they really live like this day to day? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. Nara drives me batty. She does most of her cooking in bulk. Yeah, what the fuck is that? Sorry, what the hell is that about? She sounds bored and resentful. She does, K-Buns. She does. Seriously, Nerfy, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So, okay. Welcome, Platinum Lemur, BJ, Tortor, Stevie, Diary, Erica, Cozy J, Parker, Megan, and Ent Climber? That's an awesome name, by the way. Welcome to the interns. Mwah. Alright, but Ent Climber, are you a tree doctor? I just got here. Oh, there you go. You know, I actually got some really shitty criticism one time because they were like, all you do is sit there and make faces. And I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. This is what I do. This is all I've got. Well, Rocky, your mom's version was probably more on point, which is kind of my point. Like, I don't know what it's her point. They're cosplaying. They don't actually know. It's more like a cargo cult. They're just going through the motions of what they think that lifestyle was like, where they don't understand A, why those things were the way that they were, and B, how it actually worked. Trailer trash trad. Funny. No fancy stuff, just getting back to basics by using Whole Foods organically. How is that trailer trash, though? I don't have anything wrong with people using herbal and, like, you know, granny medicine. I don't mind people doing that. I just need people to, like, if you're gonna do that, to also be like, hey, at some point, it's okay to use Western medicine because, like, they call it medicine for a reason. So I had went to subscribe thinking I hadn't or something, and then unsubscribed, and then had to resubscribe. Oh no, Nerfy, I'm so sorry. Wait, are you sure you can't chat? Did it kick you because you unsubscribed? Yeah, that's rude. Thank you for the super chat, though. Well, poop. I hate that happens. Trailer trash trad. I don't understand why it's trailer trash. But Hellfire, that's more like what it was like. It sounds normal. She's more trad. She's more trad than any trad wife out there. Anyway.
My sister's in town to visit, and she's been craving bubblegum so bad, but she ran out, so I just decided to make it for her. I poured some powdered sugar on some wax paper and created a well before combining my gum base with some corn syrup and slowly melting it down. Once that was all melted, I gave it a good stir and poured it into my little powdered sugar wells I created. One of her favorite flavors is green apple, so I made a green apple one, and then also experimented with making a cinnamon vanilla gum. Once the mixture was cold enough to handle, I kneaded it and then stretched it out and made sure to always have it covered in the powdered sugar so it wouldn't stick. Then I rolled out my gum, cut it into equal pieces, and decided to go for a little gum ball. Once all the green apple ones were formed, I moved on to my cinnamon vanilla ones and set them aside before tossing them in some more powdered sugar. To keep them fresh, I placed them in some wax paper.
Between her voice being the way that she's choosing to talk and that weird, annoying music that she's got playing in the background, this is insufferable. Look, Nerfy, quit giving me super chats. My fault for not reading before clicking buttons. Her TikToks are unhinged and make me want to pull my hair out. I don't know how you sit through them, personally. This is annoying. Since I'm editing, I'm kind of like half listening. And all I'm hearing is and then like there's high-pitched wailing in the background. It's very annoying. Very, very annoying. Nope, dang it. Let's do that.
Twisted the sides and repeated that process with all of them. And then they were ready to try. These tasted even better than store-bought gum, and she was so excited. The cinnamon vanilla ones tasted like a donut. I was very pleased about.
Again, gum is too hard to come by in this household, but don't worry, I have gum base and flavorings for it. This is where I really start to raise an eyebrow if I wasn't already, because first of all, gum base is not something that's sold in most grocery stores. I looked it up and it's one of those things you either have to order online or maybe they have it in some select craft stores. It's highly unlikely that somebody would have this as a staple ingredient in their pantry, obviously, which makes me question this whole my sister is here and just happened to have a craving for gum and I just happen to have gum base and flavorings on hand narrative. I call major BS. I'm sorry, I do. This to me is clearly a planned piece of content that she prepped for ahead of time. She placed the orders for these ingredients well in advance. And the hook about my sister had a craving for gum is a lie. That's a content hook. That's not the reality. So then it starts to make me question all of her other hooks. My toddlers were asking for this. I had a craving for that. I just have a hard time believing it personally, especially when I saw this one.
You know who I used to watch? She would be like, I have a craving for something, and then she went and would make it. I don't know if anybody remembers Nigella Lawson. Nerfy. Fine, I'll take your money. How do you like that then? Anyway. Nigella Lawson is she was a TV chef. I don't know what the hell she does now, but one day she was like, she's not a Tradwife person. She's just a cooking chef personality, and she was like, that's like what she does for a living though. She cooks on television, and she was like, oh, I have a craving for peanut brittle ice cream or something like that. And so she just went and made like peanut brittle. But again, this was her job. Her job was to make food, and then she would very seductively eat it because that was her shtick. But that's somebody who I would believe, oh, I have a craving for a thing, ergo I will go make it. Also, it only took her like 20 minutes, This thing, my kid woke up with a cold, so I'm gonna go make some cough drops. Do you know how long that takes to set? I mean, like, your kid's gonna recover by the time you get done making the cough drops. The performative nature of her videos that are insufferable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of makes you feel like it's not real. Balls of sugar do taste good. They do indeed. Tea with unicorns. Murphy, you're killing me. Doesn't Hannah know this is supposed to be extra on purpose? I don't think it always is, though, the end. They're selling a lifestyle here, I think, is the purpose. And what Hannah does, Hannah's whole thing is that she debunks and takes apart people who are being extra, so. Let's see. Yeah, Bryn, I love experimenting with making things from scratch, but the story is BS. Yeah, just say, hey, I wanted to make gum. It's fine. Just make gum. It's cool. The subcultures on TikTok are so much worse than what is happening during the heyday of Tumblr. I was never a Tumblr girl, so it shouldn't be a shock that this is planned. There's a camera there. None of that happened by accident. Yeah, stop it. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate the super chat. Nikki, I cook everything from scratch and have a very impressive pantry. I mean, yeah, you kind of have to. I wish I had time to do everything from scratch, to be perfectly honest. I'm more like a Rachel Ray kind of girl. I got like half of it's from scratch and the other half comes out of a can. And it's okay, because it still tastes good. I think the issue is that TikTok has a really young audience who don't understand the extraness. Yes, exactly. And think this is a reasonable aspiration. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, wanting to be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a from-scratch cooker. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make your own at-home remedies and stuff like that. I mean, I'm from the Midwest. It's the story that's being sold along with it. It's the women belong barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. It's the wearing ball gowns to cook in. I mean, I guess if you want to, but I wouldn't. And I'd at least wear an apron. You make bergamot tea? My family's go-to was a hot toddy, which I might be having later on tonight. Nerfy, you guys... If she were a real Tradwife, she'd have elderberry syrup on hand. Oh no, wait for it. Wait for it. I stopped her too soon, Hellfire. Ruby, I don't cook. Hey, some people don't cook. You know what? Some people don't cook. It's fine.
This morning, my toddlers woke up with a cough and a little bit of a sore throat, and I don't usually keep cough drops or traditional medicine in the house,
that's not
so
what I wanted.
let's make some. Wanted to make lemon ginger and elderberry cough drops. I poured some honey into my pot and then moved on to peeling my ginger. Didn't want to use too much ginger because I didn't want it to be too spicy for them, so I just eyeballed it and then also added some elderberry and about half a lemon. You can definitely adjust this to whatever you want to do. After I added all my ingredients to my honey, I gave it a good stir and boiled it on the stove until it reached about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, I prepped my mold. Once my honey was hot enough and reached the hard crack stage, I spooned it into my mold. I had to work quickly because
Wait, did she just say she brought honey to a crack stage? Did she say she made these straight from honey? There's no sugar in this?
degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, I prepped my mold. Once my honey was hot enough and reached the hard
You can't do that with honey. Honey doesn't do that. What? So she's saying she didn't put any sugar in this. Is that what I'm hearing? Oh, sorry.
300 degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, I want to do. After I added all my ingredients to them, so I just eyeballed it and then also added some elderberry and about half a lemon. Peeling my ginger. No medicine in the house, so let's make some.
This one.
This morning, my toddlers woke up with a medicine in the house, so let's make some. Wanted to make lemon ginger.
I've made cough drops. I don't know. I don't really know how she successfully did that without sugar or some kind of crystallization. Sorry, I'm trying to get it roughly back to where we stopped. So, yep. I call bullshit. But that's me. I call bullshit. God damn it.
Were so soothing.
Same deal here. Oh, my toddlers woke up sick this morning and I just happened to have fresh ginger and elderberry and arrowroot powder and cough drop molds in the pantry. No, you didn't. This was clearly planned well in advance, and it is crazy to me that people fall for it. I saw this video 1 hour after.
Thank you guys for all of the super chats. I really appreciate it. I think you guys are being hilarious though. Really. Yeah, your wallet and health benefit from buying less stuff. I mean, yeah. Tradwife, but no traditional medicine. Just being a tradwife doesn't mean you have to make your medicine from scratch. So, pepper and vodka. Wow, that sounds painful. Girl didn't grow her own elderberries. Maybe. Yeah, that's the other thing. You're not supposed to give honey to toddlers. Toddlers who are being watched by a nanny until filming time. Yeah, probably. Eyeball the ginger. Spicy is what they are. Spicy ginger. Sounds good though.
It was posted to TikTok and it had 1.6 million views already and over 2,000 comments of everyone praising her for how amazing she is. DIY cough drops? What can't you make from scratch? Never skip a Nara Smith video. I wanna be you. Very creative. No one does it like you. Nara is just that girl. She is mother. You are goals. Here for my daily dose of Nara Smith. Her fan base is rock solid and I can see why people adore her. She's captivating. She's talented. She seems like an anomaly. But what I want you to know,
she does seem to be talented. I mean, it takes some skill to do that kind of stuff, but these are staged. First off, it's hard to cook. It's hard to experimentally cook without making a mess. So if you want me to believe that she experimentally made cough drops for the first time while wearing a ball gown, bullshit. She's obviously test kitchened the hell out of that. So there's that. You know? I don't know if I could put up with her, honestly, if she puts music to the back of the mumbling. But I mumble too, so I guess I'm a terrible person, but... anyway, my point is these videos are very, 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 very staged, so... But, you know... I don't know.
is that she is a content creator. This is her job.
Right,
Making
exactly.
over the top, unrealistic cooking videos is her business. It's not a depiction of her reality. Being a traditional wife is not her job. Making videos portraying the fantasy of a traditional wife is her job. Now let's take this up a notch. What if I told you that she had her third baby a couple months ago? She posted that cornflake video 4 weeks postpartum. She posted the gum video 3 weeks postpartum. She posted this video of herself making a fried chicken sandwich on homemade focaccia 10 days postpartum. Were you up making bread from scratch at 10 days postpartum? Because I know I wasn't. I could barely scrape together the energy to take a shower. I most certainly was not spending hours in the kitchen making bread and gum and cornflakes from scratch the moment somebody in my household requests it. I think a lot of people who see this could understand how it's unrealistic, how it's fabricated, how it's a false reality, but Nara seems to have a pretty split audience. I would say most in favor of her content, most kind of idolizing her. The early crowd who follows her and sees her content in their feed, they shower her with praise and adoration.
I just wanted to say a couple things about the postpartum bit. It is her third child. You know, you kind of know what you're in for at that point. B, thank you. Thank you guys very much. So, I mean, that's not that far-fetched, especially if this is close to her every day. Also, you have 2 other kids to watch the infant, I assume. Maybe her mom was there helping out. I don't know. But anyway, my point is, the other thing is you can schedule videos on TikTok. So she could have just had a bunch of stuff set to go while she was in recovery, kind of a thing. I don't know. I guess she would look pregnant, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, that's my only defense with that. I think by the time you have the third kid, you kind of have more of a rhythm of unless she had like a difficult pregnancy, which it doesn't sound like she did. I guess maybe, I don't know. I have 3 cats, not 3 kids.
They absolutely love and appreciate her content, and they think that she's admirable and a real life Wonder Woman who really can do it all. And they have totally bought into the idea that this is real life. And oh yeah, she's 22 years old, by the way. Did I say that? Which I think only adds to her allure of how she seems so established and put together. On the other hand, the late crowd who's being fed her content through the algorithm maybe a few days later, they're more critical. They're not buying it. And they point out that she's portraying a false reality, that new young moms have the time, energy, and resources to do this kind of thing.
All right, no, that did finally just set in. There's nothing wrong with being 22 and knowing how to cook, like, for reals. Like, I feel like that's a little critical there. That, like, I don't mind calling people out for bullshit, but I don't like perpetuating stereotypes either. Like, being 22 and being able to cook is not... Do you not know what Mormons are? Anyway, however, being 22 and having your third child, damn girl, slow down. Just putting that out there. But again, if they're doing the traditional wife thing, they're probably not using any kind of family planning, so good luck. That's all I have to say on that one. Families get more expensive the more people you add to them. Just putting that out there too.
And then there's people out there who are like me, who are split. I think her videos are gorgeous. I think they're relaxing. I admire that she knows how to make so many things. I think it's wonderful that she's cooking homemade meals. And she seems relatively unbothered. She's just doing her thing, cooking for her family, and I love that for her. But the other part of me is kind of annoyed and critical, and I had to really get to the bottom of why I was feeling that way. Am I annoyed that she's cooking everything from scratch? No, I don't think that's it, because I also love cooking for my family. I also find that to be really fulfilling. I see the benefit in doing that. Who's gonna be like, bad mom, homemade food, gross. Showing your love for your family through cooking for them, disgraceful. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Is it that I'm jealous that she gets to be a stay-at-home wife and mom? I don't think it's that either, because I'm also a stay-at-home wife and mom. I don't think it's her role within the home that rubs me the wrong way. So if it's not the fact that she's a homemaker and it's not the fact that she cooks food from scratch, I think the point that bothers me and others is that homemakers know what it takes to live the homemaker lifestyle, and we know that it looks nothing like this. I think it's...
I mean, I'm not defending Nara Smith because I don't know squat about her. But I don't like I don't like the narrative that I don't like the narrative of I can't do it, therefore Nara can't do it. Maybe she can? Cornflakes are the devil. We get caught up with the chat again. You want to watch her, but yeah, her voice is very, very low and very, very mumbly. You don't like how she does her make. She doesn't look happy. She's certainly the few times I've seen her, she doesn't look like she's happy doing what she's doing. She looks like she's like going through the motions. And I know that's like the aesthetic. It's just like the I'm unbothered. And I don't know, that's just not coming off the way I think she wants it to come off. But again, she has a rabid fan base, so obviously it works. Cornflakes are trash. Yeah, I don't feel like scratch cornflakes are going to taste that good. You're 14 days postpartum when you made a fancy dinner. Yeah, I mean, postpartum women are not crippled. If anything, you would think they'd be a little lighter because they're no longer carrying around an extra person. Idealize anyone, including celebrities. I mean, that's the thing, Abby. Like, TV's never been reality. The internet is not reality, really. You can get some really good ideas, but hello, Karen. My friend just had a third, and she was backing out and doing everything 3 days later. Yeah, everyone is different. And I really do feel like the more practice you have at it, and T said you went back a week after surgery. I would milk that shit. No, I can't come in yet. I'm still recovering. Everyone has to be watching the kids. They're too small to be alone. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she puts them in a pin. Hannah does have like incredibly shiny hair. I was quite envious of that. Is Hannah brought us streaming? I don't know what that means, Nikki. Sorry. Well, I mean, that's the 70s, Rocky. My mom was 25? But my mom also married at 19, so I didn't even get with my partner until I was 30. We don't have children. She'll explain her point later on better. I have noticed that with Hannah. Unfortunately, in the first video, she like put this argument forward during the ice incident. I actually cut that out of the video because I think it was just a terrible argument on her end, so I just cut it out completely. But she like set up an argument and then dismantled it within the same breath, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think that was doing what you thought it was doing. But the rest of the video was very good. The fact that her videos are highly produced and stylized makes me question how much time she's actually spending on actual homemaking versus the production of a video about homemaking. Well, that's kind of Hannah's point, smug and smarmy. But can she make Reese Puff cereal? Is it because she's young, she has the ability to bounce back so fast? I mean, maybe, Erica, maybe. The textbook says, as a stay-at-home mom of 4, I would say it's highly unlikely. Yeah, and that's what Hannah's saying, is that this is unlikely. But she's selling a narrative here, right? Postpartum was 10 days in the hospital. I was 33. I'd been 22. They like to get you in and out of the hospital as fast as possible here, though, after you've had babies. Like, they're just like, pop it out and go. So... Rocky. Anyway, hit play. Play.
It's too easy to say, oh, well, if her content makes you mad, you must just be jealous of her in some way. I don't think that's truly it. The issue is not with the role itself, it's the misrepresentation of the role. Getting all dolled up to spend 2 hours in front of your tripod making cereal from scratch while your kids are occupied and taken care of by somebody else is not an honest representation of what a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom does. We're watching a curated and privileged fantasy. Most stay-at-home moms do not have this privilege. privilege. We know from firsthand experience that making breakfast for toddlers is a challenge. They're hungry, they're impatient, they're loud, they're underfoot, they're in the way, or they're in the next room unsupervised getting into something they shouldn't be. And we are lucky if we can make them a scrambled egg and a piece of toast before we lose our minds or before they burn the house down. So to watch content like this feels like a gut punch, because it's like, how are you managing to do that? What do you mean you have hours to make cornflakes from scratch in a gown? And I would hate for any new mom or soon to be mom to watch this and glean an unrealistic expectation of what motherhood or homemaking looks like, because this ain't it. I was that naive soon-to-be mom who created this expectation of what my job as a mom was gonna look like, and how much I'd be able to get done in a day, and what kinds of meals I'd be able to prepare, and how my baby should be behaving, and how much free time I would have for myself. Like, I can't even say that without laughing now. It is so laughable. But I created this image in my head of what I thought my life was gonna be like after my baby was born because of what I saw influencers put on the internet, because I didn't know that it was fake. And
I have thoughts about what Hannah just got done saying. Like, sorry, Platinum. She's, K-Bun says she's selling a narrative, not a reality, and a new hormonal mom and idiotic men will see it and berate themselves, their wives, for not being able to do it all they think Nara is doing. Yeah, and that's the danger. Textbook says, I don't care if she wants to play pretend dress up. I just wish she'd be more transparent about it being fantasy. Yeah, I mean, being a little bit more honest about, again, if she was just like, hey, I want to make gum from scratch. First off, I'd be more interested, but I'm not her target audience. Four Milks is here. Milky's here. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Child, mother, I am hungry. Mom, wait 4 hours. I'm making gourmet cereal. Exactly. Exactly. How's that gonna work? So yeah, I don't know. I think there are some really big misinformations in society right now, especially for like new moms and expectant moms, and like a lot of it has to do with the social media that they consume and stuff like that. I mean, look at Alexandra Rodriguez and her ongoing pregnancy. She's got some really interesting ideas of what pregnancy should be, and a lot of that is coming from the fact that she's following people on the internet and she's not listening to her doctors. But she has an agenda, so there's that. Falling for it, guys, just listen to your doctors. Most doctors are not out to get you. It's just kind of where I'm at with that. But at the same time, making it sound like nobody can do this, like nobody has the wherewithal to do this. I mean, nobody's a perfect parent. That does not exist. And Nara is not a perfect parent. And I guess that's maybe the argument here, is that Nara is presenting this perfect woman, like she's perfect. She's popped out 3 kids and is still unfazed. Like, you're gonna have a little downtime there, right? Like maybe a day or two. So it's that kind of a thing. But also, if she's got 3 small kids, young children, like young enough that they can't keep track of each other, somebody else is watching the kids. And so either her husband is watching the children, or she's got a nanny or a sister or someone is living with them who is taking care of the children. And here's the other thing. I don't know what Nara's husband does, but I'm willing to bet Nara probably makes more money than her husband does, just based off of her internet income. So how is that Tradwife? Like, how do they square that circle? They're making more money from social media than their husbands are making at their actual jobs. So how does that work out? Is that kind of thing. You have to be able to do that for yourself. What are we talking about? Oh, cozy. Yeah, you have to be able to differentiate between reality and what you see online. The problem is so many of this generation the younger generations think and are sold the story that what is online is reality. So I don't know what her house looks like. That's true. It could look like a flaming, like, trash heap. That's true. Erica, it's just an idealization. That's all Nara is portraying. Right, but the problem is there's no indication from Nara that she's just acting or she's just recreating. And so it's easy for people. So that's why it's easy for people to see what Nara is doing, especially young people, impressionable people see it and they're like, ah, yes, see, she can do it, kind of a thing. Abby, on the other hand, I don't like how a lot of women make being a mom sound scary and impossible. I mean, for a lot of women, it is scary. Impossible, I mean, it depends on if you have a support circle or not. Tea with a unicorn. So she's upset because she fell for the fantasy. Yeah, a little bit. She might be a little upset with herself for falling for that. Whenever you fall for a prank, you feel bad about it because you're like, I'm smarter than that, and clearly you weren't. Yeah, I learned to say the wrong species. I'm 52 and I still deal with feelings like I'm not living up to the expectations placed on us. Exactly. I mean, I feel like I'm not living up to the expectations placed on me, and I made a lot of decisions. You fell for Ballerina Farms. Four Milk says, I fell for Ballerina Farms and then I found out she was a bajillionaire. I don't know who that is, but now I'm going to go find out. I find this very similar to someone who has fallen in love with a foreign country via media and finally goes there and I was like, what is this? Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of the same thing. K-Buns, yeah. The sad thing is there are people who watch TikTok and don't understand it's fake and that there are more of them. Yeah, no, K-Buns is right. There are more people who think that this is reality than we think there are, and that's the problem. Bye, Erica. Hey, Curvy's here. Her husband watching the children. Traditional. Yeah, exactly. They're both models textbook? I don't know anything about Nara, so maybe? But even then, unless he's a very successful male model. Shit. Breaking my own stuff. My mother-in-law had 6 kids by the time she was 30. She made the clothes for all of the kids. I mean, yeah, Cozy J, if you gotta do, you gotta do. Her husband's a multimillionaire, so what, Chichin? I mean, he is now. Ballerina Farms is another Tradwife channel for Milks. Well, and Lola Low. Yeah, online is fake, but you still get influenced by it, yeah. Ashley Williams says, my wife pointed out the appliances are all smart. Smeg. Brand, which is really expensive, so likely she has help. Yeah, exactly. No, Smeg, I knew what you were talking about. Because that's a naughty word, not in America. Hannah covers ballet. Oh, yeah, let me let Hannah finish talking.
It wrecked me. I was in for a rude awakening my first few months of motherhood because my life was going nothing like I thought it should, based on what I had seen influencers posting on social media. So I do get heated because this feels like a deeply personal issue for me, something that I have gone through extremely recently, and I don't want other people to experience the same frustration I had when my postpartum experience wasn't going as seamlessly and beautifully and effortlessly as influencers seem to be. This video of her making focaccia at 10 days postpartum has 30 million views, for God's sake. There's gotta be at least a certain percentage of those people who watch this because they think it's aspirational or inspiring or achievable, and they desire to live like her and they look at her as a role model. Or there's people who are made to feel bad about their own positions or capabilities or life circumstances because they're not able to do what Nara is doing. But I want people to understand the true logistics that go behind creating this kind of content.
I feel like you can make this argument about Martha Stewart, and because a lot of people had a lot of criticisms towards Martha Stewart in her heyday because she was kind of like this, but Martha had already had her kids, and Martha had nannies and nurses take care of her kids the more money she made, And now the woman never has to worry about money again, and she's a convicted felon. But I feel like a lot of people have the same similar arguments about Martha Stewart, how like she's portraying a fantasy, nobody can really live like this, yada yada yada. And I don't know, I think some people can, but I think it does matter, A, if you have support in order to do that, and B, the more money you have, the easier your life is. Let's just put it that way. So, trailer trash trad, they don't have a lot of money, which means everybody's putting hands in, everybody's doing work. And that's probably more traditional tradwife than I'm making focaccia bread with a 3-day-old. No, you're not. Somebody's watching your 3-year-old when you're not filming because you were holding your 3-year-old while you're making focaccia bread, because that seems like a smart idea. But, I'm not her target audience, My eyeball. Sorry.
Content. I need you to think critically about what's going on outside the scope of the camera lens. What we're watching is somebody whose kitchen is set up like a filming studio. She spent time making herself camera ready for her role. Hair, makeup, beautiful gowns. She's prepped exactly what meal she's gonna make. She's following a content calendar that's been planned well in advance. She doesn't have a grocery store sized pantry with every ingredient.
Post-prison Martha is more fun. And when Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg do their cooking shows every now and then, I love it. I love the fact that those two are friends. It makes my life so much better. But anyway.
Imaginable. She has lights and tripods. She's taking breaks to position her phone perfectly and get all the different angles. She has arranged childcare behind the scenes that affords her the time and space to create these videos in peace. She's not a one-woman show. She has help. She has resources. She has privileges that most stay-at-home moms do not have. Yeah. And that
she's not necessarily bothered, Cozy J. The whole point of this is that Nara Smith is selling a fantasy as reality, and Hannah Alonso's whole brand is basically breaking down these kind of things and showing the reality behind it, or at least trying to get people to think critically about content when they consume it. She usually covers MLMs, so this is a new series for her that she's been doing for the last 4 months, and so that's her thing. She's not necessarily bothered. She's just wanting to impress upon people the fact that however cool they think Nara Smith is, Nara is selling you a story, a fantasy, and this is not what reality looks like unless you also have money and support and a nice filming setup and a wardrobe full of ball gowns and the time to put your makeup on and a time to get dressed and people to watch your kids while you're filming, Yeah, I'm sure if you have all of those things, your life looks exactly like Nara's. I don't even have kids, and there's no way in hell I could keep up with Nara, okay? That's kind of... And I have nothing to distract me except for cats, which we'll talk about cats. They're pretty distracting, but I would still have a hard time on my own doing what Nara does. Excuse me. And that's Hannah's point. Nara isn't doing this by herself. Nara has a support behind her. People are helping her out. But she's selling this narrative of, I do all this by myself. It's really not possible. It just really isn't possible. But there are a lot of people who think that she is. And she just wants people to be aware. She just wants people to be aware of, reality versus fantasy. So,
That is wonderful for her. I do not want to diminish that. She's clearly worked very hard to build her platform that now affords her these luxuries, and that's a well-deserved accomplishment. And truly, there is no judgment and no jealousy coming from me based on that. But what we're not going to do is watch her beautifully curated cooking videos and start beating ourselves up about how we don't have the same time and resources to be doing the same thing for our families. It doesn't make you any less of a wife or mother. It doesn't make you a bad mom if you feed your kids cereal from a box. It's okay if you're not not cooking 10 days postpartum. It's okay if you feel frustrated that every task you do feels like it takes 10 times longer and is 10 times harder than it should be because you don't have extra help and you don't have childcare. You are the childcare. I just want to scream it from the rooftops that the final TikTok video you see does not tell you the full story, and that there are endless amounts of unseen help and resources behind the scenes. It's fantastic if you appreciate and enjoy NAR's content, just don't believe that it's real life. That's all I'm saying. Moving on to another super popular influencer in the Tradwives genre, this is Hannah Nealman, also known for her social media handle Ballerina Farm.
Hey, it's the one 4Milks talked about.
She's a former Juilliard ballerina, she's
Ooh,
a
wow.
pageant queen, and she's also the mother to 8 children living on a ranch in Utah. And she's amassed a following of 9 million on
Is she? I mean, I'm just guessing she's Mormon. Just guessing.
Instagram. Her family is gorgeous, her ranch is gorgeous, and she portrays this very idyllic little house on the prairie type lifestyle, milking cows, harvesting eggs, homemade butter and bread.
Man, I made butter from scratch one time.
And egg salad sandwiches where everything came from the farm. Ravioli where she made the ricotta cheese filling herself with the milk that she milked by hand. And the issue that people take with Hannah's content is that everything gives off this air of being humble and modest and
I think something that would also like help out a lot with the argument is like yep. Gosh darn it. Give me a second. My brain needs to catch up with me. Not Mormons. I got Mormons on the brain. Not Quakers. Mennonites? Who are the other branches of Mennonites? Amish. Jesus Christ. The Amish. There are sects of the Amish who do not use electricity at all. They don't even use steam power. Some of them will use steam power, which I think is kind of cool. But even the wives in Amish families don't live like this, I guess is kind of the point. And that seems to be more what these Tradwives are trying to shoot for. Is they're trying to be more Amish than the Amish, apparently, with the luxury of electricity and electronic cooking devices. Like, she was making butter, yes, from hand, but she was using like a KitchenAid mixer. So, you know, Amish don't do that. That kind of a thing. Certain groups of them don't. But even the Amish have support networks behind them that allow the women to be able to keep a house, sew clothing, make food from scratch, yada yada yada, take care of their husbands, take care of their kids. It's not a monolith kind of a society. I'm not saying it's utopic. I'm just saying this is reality. That whole concept of like, it's easier to raise kids when you have family around you because you can fall back on your grandparents, your sister, you know, your cousins, your older children, that kind of thing. Well, there's a lot of Mormons, Allie. I mean, they are an entire group, so I mean, I get insanely annoyed that we have a society of teenagers that think they deserve a private jet vacation because they all see the influencers online without seeing what is actually going on. Yeah, and most of those influencers are like renting the jet for the day. Right, and there's certain things that you just don't make from scratch because it's a pain in the ass. Yes, I was thinking Mennonites are like a branch of the Amish, or are they like a whole other thing? I don't know. This person with 8 I don't think her name's, is her name Hannah? This Hannah with 8 children can afford to live life she has because she has the privilege. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you start off well, you have the ability to live well, unless you blow it. Excuse me. Mennonites are kind of Amish light. Yeah, I knew they weren't exactly the same. I just didn't remember, like, everyone thought she started from scratch and built a life when in reality she's a billionaire. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy. Like I said, life's easy when you got money.
and down to earth, like she's just homesteading and raising babies and making bread in her little farmhouse in her linen dresses. Which might be true, but there's also signs of extreme wealth and privilege that poke through. Most notably, the oven that's seen in the background of a lot of her videos is actually worth up to $30,000. Or that the 328-acre ranch she lives on was listed for $2.75 million when they purchased it in 2018. You're probably going to be hearing my cat Zeke in the background. I cannot, for the life of me, get him to be quiet. I'm at the point now where I've given up. I've let him in and out and in and out. I repeated that last line about the price of the ranch 13 times and he interrupted every single one of them. My patience is gone. I'm just gonna talk over him. So sorry about that.
I understand. I completely and totally understand. Yup.
Another thing that people have discovered is that her father-in-law is David Neilman, the founder of 5 commercial airlines, including JetBlue, and whose net worth is $400 million.
Is she an only child? Because, wow. Hey, Dad, what's up?
And another sign of her wealth is that her farm is fully operational and she runs a successful farm-to-table agriculture business.
Props? So, this is my thing. How do the Tradwives, they all seem to be somewhat successful business women, right? Whether they're just creators or this woman, she's running her own business directly out of her farm. Cool beans. I don't have anything against that, right? But doesn't that go against, like, Tradwife? Aren't you supposed to be, isn't the husband supposed to be the one who's making the income? What happens when you make more than him? Like, what happens when you're the breadwinner and he's not? Like, how does that work in a trad wife situation? Because that would be, in my, especially in a conservative, because we're talking about conservative, kind of a right-wing kind of an ideology here, doesn't that go directly against the whole concept of gender roles and femininity? Like, aren't you supposed to be dependent on your husband? And if you are financially independent on your own, kind of like breaks that whole gender role, traditional femininity thing, doesn't it? But, right, trad wives are not supposed to have an income. Trad, but not in the traditional sense. Yeah, exactly. Confused and PI. Like, even the Amish are like, why are you making life more difficult than it needs to be? You know, pet interruptions are adorable to you, Lee. No, I'm kidding. I mean, yeah, they're adorable to watch, but not so much to experience. Yeah, exactly, textbook. Men don't have any problem cashing that check. Poor Milk says she was selling that she came from nothing, like buying a farm with her husband, etc. That's a 2 point whatever million farm. I mean, how did you get the mortgage for that without anything? Nice, exactly. Platinum. Are religious women supposed to be allergic to money? She hasn't said anything about religion in any of this either. Like, I was just guessing that she's Mormon because she's out of Utah and, like, chances are she's Mormon. So that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's religious in this community. The social media is more real than stuff on TV. Yeah, Lee, the perception that since it's a real person behind the account in social media, there's like this perception that everything that happens is real. Not necessarily. I'll just blather on about how husband is still the headship. This is all in service of getting actually beholden women and moms sucked into their MLM downline or by buying. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they do all the MLM shit in ways that align with their virtues. Yeah, Ricky's people makes a good point there. Actually, trad wives are cosplaying. Yeah, Lee, that goes back to Hannah said, you know, the cosplaying. Like Marie Antoinette pretending to be a shepherdess in the gardens of Versailles. Have you ever seen Tyler Bender's Tradwife spoof short videos? No, but I'm going to look them up now. Not right now. I'm gonna let this play out, and I'm gonna quit editing because it is date night and I want to get going, but let's get this done.
And all of this is fine. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy or successful. But exactly as we talked about earlier, there's clearly unseen privileges that are going on outside the scope of the cute little video we see on Instagram. Some of her followers almost feel cheated once they discover that she's extremely wealthy and she likely has all the money and resources in the world to help her. She's somebody that has generational wealth who left her city ballerina pageant lifestyle to become a homesteading tradwife influencer, seemingly almost like a hobby of hers. She's making herself out to be this traditional wife who stays home and raises the kids and bakes bread all day, but she's actually a wealthy business owner, which therefore makes her content feel performative, like an act. And keep in mind that none of this information about her wealth came to light because Hannah herself offered up that information. In fact, she portrays herself as just the opposite. This post from 2021 says, "With the ink still wet on the real estate contract for our new little farm, we drove to the nearest farm goods store to buy muck boots, overalls, gloves, and straw hats. We had zero experience, zero background in farming, didn't own a shovel or a single animal." She's intentionally trying to give off the impression that she came from humble beginnings with just a straw hat and a dream.
This 100% falls under like dark anthropology because we talk about the manipulation of the audience's perception of you. And I mean, the secrets of the ballerina farm. I might need to do some stuff on her if she's got a channel. But anyway, my point is, she is very intentionally creating an online persona that is this rags to riches kind of story, pull myself up by my bootstraps, you know, traditional trad wife. And it works because she's obviously got a following of people who feel betrayed when they find out that she's a gajillionaire, and because they think that she started from nothing. And the problem is you see these kind of people, you know, let's say, I don't know, let's say I fall for it and I'm like, wow, this person, like she built a farm and she does all this stuff from scratch and she's popped out 8 kids and it hasn't slowed her down in a single step. Maybe I can do it too. The reality is, I don't have $2.5 million to put down on a farm. I mean, like, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, okay? I have a pepper plant in the backyard. You know, it's that kind of a situation. But unless somebody does deep dives on some of these people, because they're really, really good at burying the lead, you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know their whole story. And I mean, when you have money, it's really easy to bury the lead, you know, kind of a thing. And I think that's another point that Hannah's trying to point out here in her video is that, like, this is a bold-faced lie at certain points. Like, this is straight manipulation. This isn't even, like, attempting to kind of shade the truth. This is creating an entire fiction and trying to sell it as reality. And some people are buying it, you know? And it's the people that buy it that get injured. Falls back into Hannah's background with the MLMs. Like, this is how they reel you in with MLMs. They promise you this wonderful, perfect life that you can achieve if you just do X, Y, Z. Look at me. I'm a successful businesswoman. And in reality, that woman probably had like a bunch of money to invest in the first place, or they're just straight lying. So Ricky's People says Jordan and McKay also revealed that Ballerina Farm offloads 70% of their orders to partner farms. When you order from her, you're not even getting the product she shills, just as her name slapped on it. Yeah, little farm, 300 acres. I don't think people understand how big an acre is. I do. That's a lot of land, which would explain why it's $2.5 million. Oh no! I hope you get back on the ring, Platinum. It's catching up kind of with the chat. I'll fire. You're also trailer trash chat. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a homemaker and to want to do things from scratch. With 2.5 million, I'm not staying home to cosplay as a housewife. Bye, BJ. Thanks for stopping by. Not everyone is lucky enough to marry into money. She didn't marry into money. She is money. He married her. Did he marry her for her money? I don't know. They got 8 kids. I mean, those 8 kids didn't come from nowhere, you know?
And look at this fantastically successful farming business that she's been able to build without giving any credit to her generational wealth or her privileges or the help she had along the way. It was internet sleuths who did some digging and uncovered and publicized this information. I think the Ballerina Farm account is another great example of how Tradwife influencers will cosplay as something they're not. And they're doing a really bad job. They're not making it very believable. They build their whole following around being this superhuman, inspirational wife and mother who can manage it all. And they're just hoping that their audience don't think critically for a second about the logistics of what's actually going on behind the camera. And the final Tradwife I want to touch on for this video is Esty Williams. She's a self-proclaimed traditional wife and she has nearly 200,000 followers on TikTok. Unlike Hannah and Nara, she doesn't post much content of her actually doing the domestic labor tasks. She posts mainly sit-down chatty videos about how to live the Tradwife lifestyle. For example, this is a video directed at high school girls, giving them advice on what they should do if they want to become a Tradwife.
Boy, I don't do this often, but there's just something about her expressions that make me not like her at all. No, she had money and she married more money. Do you really need more money? I mean, I guess.
In the future. Here's a video about how to be feminine in the gym, and some of her tips include wearing scrunchies, wearing makeup, wearing perfume.
Yeah, that's what you want to do when you go to the gym. Because the thing I want is to be running on the treadmill next to the woman who smells like a perfume factory. That'll be great. You will be very popular at the gym.
Buying cutesy pink workout gear, and of course, dressing modestly, because you don't want to attract the attention of any man in the gym who isn't your husband, right? This is another video she did
How do you work out?
on giving tips on how to attract a masculine man. And one of the tips is that you must be an approachable woman, which to her means you need to be feminine, fit, and friendly. And then, of course, there's this one. POV, your husband is on the way home, and it's just her primping herself to be presentable for him. And no, this account is not satire. She is 100% dead serious about all of it. Which kind of leads me into the discussion of, is being a Tradwife a good or a bad thing? My first reaction to watching her videos.
Yes, Lolo. She looks like toxic happiness. Meet up frolic indoctrination. This last Tradwife looks fake. I mean, yeah, they're all fake. That's kind of the point, right? Spinster gang frolic meetup. Yes, I learned to save the wrong species. And not in the good way.
Is to be appalled and to feel very uncomfortable by it. But then you look in her comments and she has a lot of support. And it's other women leaving their encouragement and praise of this kind of lifestyle. What I found is that people are very...
Can we just look at the positive and just be like, hey, there's a lot of women supporting women? Can we just take the positive from this one? Can we just take the positive from that one?
split on how they feel about this trend. And I keep calling it the Tradwife trend because of the social media component. Obviously, the idea of being a housewife is not new and it's not a trend, but the recent rise of influencers who perform this lifestyle for a camera, for content, for views, for the consumption of others on social media, that is a trend. Each of the Tradwives I've shown you in this video have supporters and non-supporters. On one side, some people say the Tradwife trend is anti-feminist and that it's setting us back as a society. Like, we worked so hard for women's rights and equality, and we're finally to a point where women are pursuing a higher education and they do have a representation in the workforce. And we do envision more for ourselves than being a caretaker, and dual income households are the norm now.
Yeah, but also part of feminism was allowing you to be able to make that choice if you wanted to. Like, at least that's the feminism I remember. Oops.
So in a way, the Tradwife trend feels like a huge step backwards in time, where these influencers
Exactly, Anais.
are cropping up and gaining wild popularity, but they're perpetuating traditional gender roles where the woman's sole purpose is to take care of the home and to serve her husband and children. But there is another side to the argument. Some people appreciate the Tradwife movement in the sense that it promotes slower and simpler living where family is prioritized.
I think, can't we just promote slower and simpler living where family is prioritized and leave the sexism out of it? I mean, it's entirely possible. There's no reason why men can't participate in the home activities just as much as women can, and you can still live a slow, family-centered life, you know? I don't think you have to be a Tradwife in order to do that.
If we have both spouses out in the workforce, then who's caring for the home? Who's caring for the children? In some cases,
I'm a sham? What does that mean? Or Saham? I don't know what that is. Stay at home mom. There we go. Ha ha ha. I did it. I got it. But I'm also feminine. You don't have, you can't, look, feminism's just like the radical idea that women are people too. Like, it's really all it is. If women want to be 1950s housewives, they should have a right to do so. Do I agree with it? That doesn't matter. It's not my life. You know, as long as they're not taking my rights away, which they are, then I don't care. You know, that's the thing. But you should have the right to decide. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to stay home and take care of kids. Yeah, exactly. Women should feel empowered to do what they want.
Is most, if not all, of one spouse's income is going right into childcare. So if that's the case, it could be an economical decision to have one spouse stay home, typically the woman. Some also believe that in the fast-paced age we're living in right now, it can be desirable to take a step back, pursue a simpler way of living where we're really focusing on taking care of our homes and ourselves and our families. And another huge argument I see on the pro-tradwife side is that feminism is a woman's right to choose. If they choose to enter the workforce, that's great, we support it. If they choose to stay home and be a homemaker, that's great, we support it. So many people believe that the tradwife trend is not an attack on feminism.
I think it is an attack on feminism, but the joke's kind of on them, because if it wasn't for feminism, you wouldn't even be able to make that decision. So, I mean, ha ha ha, ha I win. Kind of a thing.
All of that to say, I'm not personally here to talk about whether or not being a traditional wife is a good or bad thing, because it's ultimately very divisive. Everybody has their own opinions, and if it works well for you and your family and it makes you happy and that's the choice you've made, then who am I to judge?
I mean, you can judge all you want. Judge away. It's none of your business. That doesn't matter. Judge away. I mean, shit, I make videos about Amberlyn Reed. I know lots about judging people.
I am here to talk about is how social media influencers are redefining what the traditional wife role looks like. I'm here to talk about how that role is romanticized and exaggerated and performed in the modern social media age. Because in my opinion, I think there's a huge difference between somebody who is an actual homemaker, stay-at-home mom, traditional wife, and a trad wife. Trad wives are influencers who are curating, promoting, and monetizing this lifestyle for social media. I feel that the work of a stay-at-home mom or homemaker is true, honest, difficult, selfless work, but it does not look like what social media tradwives are showing us. It's performative, staged, fake, too perfect, and too pretty to be believable. And this dissonance between viewers about if being a tradwife is a good or bad thing is in essence what keeps the tradwife influencers relevant. Their content relies on the conflicting engagement they get, almost in a rage bait sort of way, which I talked about in episode 5 of this series. They like that their content is a bit controversial. They intentionally create it to be that way, because that means that the content performs better and their platforms grow easier and they make more money. Any attention is good attention. Any comment is a good comment as far as the algorithm is concerned. And these conflicting opinions in the tradwives comment sections is exactly what has catapulted them into social media fame in the past year or so.
She's going to wrap up here in a minute with the business of being a tradwife, but I need to go. So unfortunately, I need to wrap up here. I get what Hannah's saying. Hannah's whole thing is getting people to look behind the curtain, you know, the Great Wizard of Oz and all that. You want to look behind the curtain and see the reality of the situation. And a lot of times, if it looks too good to be true, then it is. And that's kind of her point with these two very influential tradwives. When you look behind the curtain, what's happening in the background is not what's being portrayed through their social media accounts. But like with the ballerina lady, like, it took the media and some sleuths to get behind the curtain to see that, because she was probably actively trying to keep people from finding that out. Probably the same thing's going on with Nara. She's actively keeping people from seeing what her real life looks like. In the meantime, she's portraying this perfect, unbothered lifestyle that just is not really sustainable. It's not really real. But because it's hard to see behind the curtain, because they're hiding this stuff, and because they do put it forward in such a perfect kind of don't you wish you were me kind of way, it's very easy for especially people who don't know any better. Guys, I don't think some of us remember what it's like to be 20. You know, it's easy to get fooled when you're young and you don't know any better, because you don't know any better yet. And that's the problem. So that's the situation here. You get people who haven't had the training or the experience yet to be able to go, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. And also keep in mind, we quit teaching critical thinking in school a long time ago. So there's that. But that's why people get sucked into this thing. You know, they see these accounts for whatever reason. People believe that people on the internet are real. And that's why people are always asking for my real name. It doesn't matter what my real name is. If you don't agree with what I have to say, it doesn't matter if I have a real name or not. I could be named like R2D2, and it doesn't really matter. Like, whether you agree with me or not, that's what matters, you know? That kind of a thing. But it's this. They see these women, they have names, they have faces, they're putting forward this idealized life, and it's fake. It doesn't matter if they were doing the Tradwife thing or if they were doing like extreme adventures. If they're putting forward a fake persona, it's still fake, you know, and people need to learn to see behind that. That's kind of what Hannah's trying to say here is you need to look behind it. She's just going after Tradwives because I don't think Hannah likes Tradwives, and that's fine. You're allowed to not like Tradwives. There's also absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be a Tradwife. Personally, I wouldn't want to do it, but there is a romantic draw to making everything from scratch and cooking your own bread and cooking dinner every day and, you know, making at-home remedies and that kind of thing. I can't imagine being like, my whole life is for my husband, because like, I disagree. I'm a very, very bratty person, but otherwise, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of your family and to do it in a way that you feel is the best way to do it, you know, as long as you're not hurting anyone. Tiny Etta. Yes, that is my name. My name is Tiny Etta. Actually, you all have 4 milks to thank for me being called Tiny all the time. So, all right. I choose to believe that your parents were huge Star Wars nerds who named you. That would be amazing. They're setting women up for disappointment, thinking that life as a stay-at-home mom is the perfect utopia. Yeah, I mean, it's not. First off, kids are horrible. Kids are tiny little minions. They're not going to act the way you expect them to act. They're smarter than you think they are. And they learn very quickly how to manipulate you because it's how they survive. Yeah, real life isn't like Little House on the Prairie. My Tradwife life was never about my husband, only my kids. Yeah, exactly. Like, I would hope your husband can keep himself alive. The children are a whole other story. But all right, I need to go. Speaking of partners and, you know, wanting to have a happy home life, I need to go. So if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put a, I don't know what to, pizza. Put a pizza. I think that's what we're having for dinner. Go ahead and put a pizza in the comments section as your emoji if you would like. I know this is a divisive, yeah, I think that's the right word, topic. So please continue to discuss it. Just kind of be respectful of each other. Don't poke each other, please. It's rude. Don't do that. Bye, 4 Milks. Thank you for stopping by. I feel so happy to see you. And yes, thank you everybody else who stopped by too as well. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys. Thank you, Nerfy, for giving everybody the memberships, and thank you everybody for the super chats, especially if one got past me and I didn't see it. Insert pizza emoji. Exactly, Allie. But I will hopefully have a video up for everybody. It looks like it's going to probably be tomorrow, but I will hopefully have videos going back up again starting tomorrow. And yeah, I will see everybody in the next one. Bye!